I'm going to talk you through how to complete Lesson 4 SQL. Now to start with, you will need to load up your worksheet for Lesson 4 SQL. Now when you scroll down, you will see the commands that we use for SQL. Select is used to identify a field name that we want to use from a particular table. From is used to identify the table. Where is the criteria that we use for searching, and order by is sorting information into a particular order. Now, the first thing you will need to do is you will need to click on this link here to load up the database to run the SQL on. Now, you might find that as you load it up, you might need to click on Run to get the database running up and started for you. Now, this database, remember, a database is a collection of data, contains several tables, and these are the table names. So if I flip through the tables, you will see this is a customers table where customer information is stored. Categories, okay, so it's a database about drinks. Employees, order details, and so on. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to type in our SQL command here. Our first question, if we scroll down, has asked us to display all the customer names. Now, we know that customer names is in the customers table because none of the other tables have the field customer name. Now, to do this, we can leave the select criteria there. Now, what is it that we want it to select? We want it to select customer name. Now, we type in customer name, and when we type this in, we need to be very careful that we type it in exactly the way it appears in the database. If you don't type it in that way, you will not get your results. Now, we wanted to get customer name from the customers table. Okay, so that query is now written for us. Now we run that query, and as you can see, it's picked up all the customer names from the customer table. Let's move on to another one. So the second task that we have is it says display all the customer names and their countries. Okay, now to do this, we will go back to our criteria. We click on customers. Again, we want it to find customer name. So we type in customer name. Okay, and we want it to bring up the country. So to do this, we put a comma and we write country. And we wanted to display it from the customers table. We run the search. And as you can see, it brings up the customer name and the country. Okay. Now let's move on to a different one. So let's maybe have a look at display all the customers from Mexico. So let's go back to our SQL. And in this case, let's just reset that. We wanted to bring up maybe customer name. Now you can choose which fields you'd like it to bring up. I'm going to pick up customer name, but you can add more than one field there as well. Okay, so if I put in customer name, okay, and then I just delete that space there from the customers table, and then on the next line, okay, I'm going to say where, so I'm going to type in the criteria. Whoops, type that in wrong. Where country is equal to Mexico. Now I need to put this in little speech marks to make sure that it accepts it. Okay, so I write down Mexico. And I close the speech mark. So what we're asking for is we're asking it to select customer name. sorry, should be a space there, from the customers table where the country is equal to Mexico. Okay, as you can see there, we've been asked to find all the customers from Mexico. So we'll run that query there. As you can see there, we've got all the customers from Mexico. Now, it might be a good idea to include more than one field. So you may, I don't know, want to include country in there as well. So you can see that which country they belong to do that query. Now, what we'd like you to do is to use the same process using the hints at the top here to complete the rest of the tasks in this table.